There exists a truth hidden within 4 simple questions, questions that hold the architecture of all human existence. Who started it? Will we survive? Where shall we place what we've built? And when the dust settles, who will restore the world to order? These aren't mere inquiries. They are the pillars upon which every philosophy, every civilization, every quiet moment of human wondering ultimately rests. I find myself drawn to the ancient art of archery, though not for the reasons you might expect. The kill holds no fascination for me. Competition serves its purpose, yes, but what captivates my soul is something far more ethereal. It's the moment when you release an arrow and watch it transform into something beyond human intention. Picture this. The shaft climbs against gravity's pull, reaching toward the infinite dome above us. There comes that breathless moment when it pauses, suspended between earth and sky, before gravity reclaims it with gentle inevitability. We stand transfixed, watching this brief flight that serves no practical end, achieves no measurable goal, yet somehow touches something profound within our witnessing consciousness. What is it about this moment that speaks to our deepest nature? It accomplishes nothing that our productivity-obsessed world would classify as useful work. It simply exists in its own perfect completeness, what we have forgotten how to call play. Our civilization has constructed one of the most devastating separations in human experience, the artificial chasm between work and play. We have convinced ourselves that we must endure hours of soul-crushing labor to earn brief permissions for joy, as if meaning itself operated on some cosmic accounting system, as if the human spirit could be rationed like wartime supplies. This division is not just wrong. It's a form of spiritual violence we commit against our own nature, because here lies the secret that could transform everything. Every single thing we do, no matter how demanding, no matter how exhausting, can be transmuted into the same quality of presence I discovered while spinning that orange around my head in complete fascination. Let me paint you a scene from the depths of New York's underground arteries. I descended into the subway station at 59th Street, near Columbus Circle, seeking nothing more than clean shoes. What I encountered instead was a masterclass in the alchemy of consciousness. There stood a man whose skin held the deep richness of ancestral strength, and he had transformed shoe shining into something approaching sacred art. Watch his hands as they unfold the cloth with ceremonial precision. See how the fabric spreads like prayer flags catching invisible wind. Now observe as he moves across the leather with the fluid grace of a dancer who has found his perfect partner. He wasn't simply cleaning shoes. He was choreographing joy from the mundane, conducting a symphony of service, where every movement held the same captivating quality as spinning objects through space. His entire being pulsed with the recognition that this moment, this task, this interaction was not separate from play. It was play in its purest form. Transform your imagination now to another scene, the city bus driver, that figure our society has designated as the embodiment of urban suffering. Picture him surrounded by the chaos of traffic laws, competing vehicles demanding space, patrol officers enforcing regulations, passengers boarding with their complicated needs for change and directions. If this man carries in his consciousness the belief that what he's doing is merely work, if he sees himself as trapped within a metal cage of obligation, then yes, his existence becomes a particular kind of hell, each day a sentence to be served until freedom's reprieve. But consciousness holds infinite possibilities for transformation. Imagine instead that this same driver awakens to a different recognition, that guiding this massive vehicle through the intricate choreography of city traffic is actually an extraordinarily sophisticated game. Picture him discovering the same quality of absorption you might experience while playing guitar, the same flowing presence you find in dance. Now watch as he navigates through that same traffic, avoiding this obstacle, adapting to that challenge, accepting fares with fluid grace, and suddenly he's composing music from chaos. The entire experience becomes a continuous improvisation, a jazz performance played out on asphalt and steel. At day's end, instead of collapsing in exhaustion, he steps from his driver's seat energized, alive, filled with the vitality that comes only from complete engagement with the present moment. Consider now what our culture has designated as the most invisible of all occupations. The woman condemned to the endless cycle of domestic maintenance. You know, I've come to realize that those 4 fundamental philosophical questions I mentioned earlier, who started it? Are we going to make it? Where are we going to put it? And who's going to clean up? These aren't abstract concepts. They're the daily reality of the housewife who faces dishes and the garbage collector who must solve the eternal puzzle of where we're going to put it all. This is supposedly the lowliest of all human activities: washing dishes, managing refuse, restoring order from chaos. And when you arrange these 4 questions in their proper sequence, who started it? Are we going to make it? Where are we going to put it? Who's going to clean up? They naturally prompt a 5th inquiry that changes everything. Is it serious? Doctor, is it serious? Well, suppose it isn't. When the woman approaches her sink with this transformed understanding, everything shifts. And before you imagine I'm some relic of patriarchal thinking, attempting to manipulate women into accepting limited roles, understand that I would gladly stand at that same sink because I've discovered something profound about the art of washing dishes. The secret is this: you only have to wash 1 dish at a time. In your mind's eye right now, you might see an enormous mountain of filthy dishes stretching backward through years of accumulated meals, and forward through an infinite future of plates yet to be soiled. But this is the tyranny of mental time travel, the prison of past and future that robs us of the only reality that actually exists. Bring your consciousness home to what is actually here. There is only now. This moment, this single dish, this is the only dish you will ever truly have to wash. This one right here, right now. All the rest exists only in the storytelling mind that refuses to inhabit the present moment. So you take this dish, and instead of approaching it with the harsh voice of perfectionist conditioning, have I got it really clean? The way Mother demanded with her angry insistence that every microscopic scrap be eliminated. Instead, you transform the cleaning movement itself into dance. Watch your hands move in flowing rhythm. Feel the warm water cascade over ceramic surfaces. Let the rinsing become a kind of blessing, a ritual of restoration. Place the clean dish in its resting place with the satisfaction of completion. Then reach for the next one with fresh presence. This is how rhythm emerges from routine, how the sacred reveals itself in the most ordinary activities. You're no longer trapped under the weight of compulsion. You're participating in the continuous creation of order from chaos. This understanding takes me back to my childhood in England, where I encountered one of education's most perverse contradictions. They called it playing the piano, but what they actually meant was musical imprisonment. We had something called compulsory games, a phrase that reveals the depth of institutional misunderstanding about the nature of play. I can still see those notices posted on the school bulletin board, proclaiming with administrative authority, "This afternoon everyone will go for a run," and if you were discovered to have disobeyed this mandatory recreation, physical punishment awaited you. So naturally, everyone developed a deep hatred for running because they were being forced to play. It's like the great game of existence itself. We're all involuntary participants in life, but somehow everyone is required to belong to this cosmic performance, whether they choose to or not. I remember one particular day during these forced runs when I decided to experiment with enjoyment. I began running on the balls of my feet, finding a dancing quality in the movement, letting my body find its natural rhythm with the earth. Behind me, I heard the heavy percussion of another approach, a fellow student running with the mechanical determination of obligation. His heels struck the ground with punishing regularity. Thump, 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 thump. I turned to him with genuine curiosity. "What's driving you to run on your heels like that? You're sending shockwaves through your entire skeletal system with every step." He maintained his grinding rhythm, committed to his method of enduring rather than enjoying. And you know what? He became the school's champion long-distance runner. But he never enjoyed a single step of those countless miles. For him, it remained work, pure grinding work. The only satisfaction he derived came from the suffering itself, the pain that made him feel he had truly contributed something valuable to the human story. His sense of worth, his very identity became inseparable from the amount of punishment he could endure. But truly, great runners move like dancers when they run. They don't necessarily follow rigid straight lines. They may weave and flow, responding to the landscape with fluid adaptation. This truth revealed itself magnificently in 1970, when the world witnessed something extraordinary during the World Cup Championship in soccer. The Brazilian team that claimed victory played the sport in a way that redefined what was possible. They played soccer like basketball. They played it dancing. The soccer we learned in school during my youth was rigid, formal, orderly, and consequently, we never really developed genuine love for it. But these Brazilian masters were bouncing balls off their shoulders, off every muscle they possessed. Their teamwork was astonishing. Yes, but what made them unforgettable was that they were simultaneously dancing the entire game. The sports writer for the London Times captured it perfectly when he wrote that they danced their way to victory. The secret of complete engagement. This reveals the fundamental principle that can revolutionize every aspect of human experience. You can do everything you have to do in this spirit of playful presence. Don't create artificial distinctions between work and play. Recognize everything you're doing as play, and don't imagine for even a moment that you need to be serious about it. This is the real secret of life, to be completely engaged with what you're doing in the here and now. Instead of labeling it work, realize that this is play. Hindu philosophy understood this at the deepest level. They regard the entire creation as the Vishnu Leela, the play of Vishnu. Leela means dance or play, and from this Sanskrit root we derive our English word lilt, that quality of lightness and rhythm that seems to defy gravity. The Hindu sages also call this world an illusion, Maya. And in Latin, the root of our word illusion is ludere, which means to play. Because all of this magnificent swirling, the spinning of planets, the patterns in which flowers unfold, is simply the universe at play with itself. But if you approach existence with grim seriousness, demanding to know, are you doing anything useful? Useful for what? Useful for continuing to go on. If you take that attitude toward the continuation of life, then going on becomes a burden. Survival transforms into exhausting labor. The whole enterprise stops being worth the effort. And if you teach your children this perspective, and they will imitate you, as children do, they will approach survival as grueling work that they must somehow endure. They must keep going, they'll think, not because life is joyful, but because continuing is an obligation. And they'll pass this same grim inheritance to their children. The entire continuation of the human race becomes a drag, which is precisely what has happened because of this attitude. This is why we've invented atomic weapons and are preparing to commit collective suicide. Because we believe we must happen, we must continue. But to the degree that we feel forced to exist, we develop hatred for existence itself and move toward bringing it all to an end. The compulsion to be becomes indistinguishable from the desire to stop it all. So I was about to say seriously, but I'm going to change my language and say sincerely. I suggest to you sincerely that I'm not preaching when I speak to you. I'm not actually serious, because I'm truly playing with these ideas rather than treating them as some kind of heavy philosophical doctrine. G.K. Chesterton once observed that angels fly because they take themselves lightly. How much more so, then, must be the lightness of the one who is Lord of the angels. The whole world costs 3 for a penny, 3 for a pound. It's love that makes the world go round. Or as Dante expressed it in his divine vision of cosmic completion, but my own wings were not sufficient for such a flight, except that, smiting through my mind, there came fulfillment in a flash of light, wherein my will and my desires were moved, like a wheel revolving evenly, by the love that moves the sun and the other stars. This is the ultimate recognition that we are not separate from the force that choreographs galaxies and guides the smallest leaf in its spiral dance toward Earth. We are expressions of that same creative impulse, invited to participate consciously in the cosmic play that never stops unfolding. The arrow knows this as it traces its perfect arc. The dish knows this as it yields to warm water. The runner knows this when steps become dance, and we can know it too. In any moment we choose to remember that we are not here to endure existence. We are here to play with it,